Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and this is going to be a brief little review for Sword Art Online, Episode 2. Now, this one picks up a month after the first one ended, and pretty much nobody in this game has gotten off the first level. But we've found out, as of the end credits scroll of the previous episode, that also means 2,000 people have died, whether because of in-game calamities or because people on the outside have tried to take them off the nerve gear that plugs them into it. Basically, those people are dead and gone, and that's a lot of serious numbers. So the people that are still in the game, a small group of them anyway, headed up by a new character by the name of Diabel, are basically trying to put a group together in hopes of finding the level 1 boss and beating him and showing everyone else by example, hey, we can do this, we can get out of this game once and for all, and with our lives. Somewhat ironic considering what happens to him in this episode. Hopefully you've seen it, so it won't be a spoiler for you, but this meeting that he put together is interrupted by a new character, Cabal, and this cat basically blames any beta player in the game for being at fault for these 2,000 people who died. Essentially, the way he looks at it is once they all found out they were trapped, these beta players and beta testers, they took off. They want to defend for themselves. They left all the newbies and the people who haven't experienced the world of Sword Art Online, they left them for dead. So he basically is calling for recompense in the form of them giving up all of their items that they've accumulated and money. And another new character by the name of Egil, who I believe will be a main character, basically interrupts him to say, you know what? You know those little guides you're using to play this game? That all came from beta testers. That all came from, the people who were here before you. So that kind of shuts them up for the time being. But we're also introduced to new character Asuna. Now, she seems to be the main female lead, at least per the credit opening, and essentially once they have concocted a plan where everybody will get into 6-man teams and they'll all alternate when they find the boss during the battle, we find that Kirito, the main character, has been kind of sort of left out. And he looks over to his left and he sees Asuna sitting there. She's been left out too, to a degree. And they kind of have a little impromptu teaming up. So later that night, we see that they have a little bit of a relating moment where she's eating like a loaf of bread and he eats the same thing and he wants to get to know her a little bit. And he shows her a trick about how, he can put cream on the bread. And it's kind of comical how she just scarfs it down after that because apparently it's much better that way. But we also get a little insight into the fact that, much like everyone else, that she doesn't want to die in this virtual world. And it adds a sense of poignancy to an otherwise just cute and funny relating scene between these two characters. But essentially, as the morning dawns, it brings with it the time to attack. Diabel has basically figured out where the level 1 boss is. He resides in the top of a tower, and per his strategies, basically everybody's doing what they need to do as the battle ensues. They're all alternating as they need to. Kirito and Asuna are off to the side taking care of the sentinels or guards that are protecting the boss so everyone else can get their shots in. At one point, Kirito calls out Asuna's name because she's about to get struck down and he saves her. And then we see Diabel do something very interesting. He gives Kirito a wink and a smile as if he knows more than he's letting on. And he goes in to make a kill shot. Now, Kirito notices the boss is actually doing something unanticipated rather than the move Diabel probably thought the boss was going to make, and Kirito calls out to him, but effectively the boss takes Diabel down. Kirito runs over to him and, he's holding him basically in his arms as Diabel is dying, and Diabel tells him, make an example, show these people you can get them out of here, or they can get themselves out of here, that they can win and beat this game and they can save their lives essentially, which is what apparently Diabel wanted to do. But it's a very impactful scene because at that very moment I'm reminded of the fact that he's not just dying in the game. His body out in the real world attached to this game playing mechanism, he's dying there too, and I just thought it was a really heavy emotive scene to play out the way that it did. But basically, the battle continues. Kirito and Asuna are seemingly alone for a little while, and just as Kirito has his ass handed to him, we see that Egil comes in with the rest of the people and fend off the boss a little more, and Kirito actually makes the kill shot. Now, everyone starts by celebrating because they all realize, hey, we're moving on to level 2, but basically Cabal is there, and he's like, I saw what Kirito did. I saw that he was yelling out to Diabell about this move that this boss, none of us would have known, but Kirito knew. So essentially, he must be a beta player, and thus it's his fault Diabell died. And it's really interesting to see that sort of mood shift over the entire crowd. You know, they're all looking at each other accusingly and sort of wondering if there are any other beta players among them withholding information. And Kirito's response to this is just surprising to me. Essentially, as he's looking over the prize that he won for making the kill shot, he starts laughing, and it sounds almost maniacal to me. He starts addressing Cabal directly. He's saying, you know, you guys thought the beta players were all that they have all this information, all these skills, all these items, and that kind of thing. And essentially, you know, you're better than they were. They were noobs. And then he goes on to boast, I made it higher than anyone else did in this game. I know things that not even the guides can tell you about how to play it and how to beat it. So essentially, they call him a cheater. They say that's worse than being just a beta player. And one person calls him a beater, which is a moniker he ends up liking. And incidentally, the episode title is Beater. But, you know, it's really interesting because he kind of leaves it ambiguously. He puts on his long coat, which was the prize. And as he's going to leave to the next level, Asuna chases after him, and she's asking him, you know, how did you know my name in that point in the battle when you called it out? And so here's where it gets intriguing to me, because she could really effectively move her sword, and she knew battle moves and stuff, to the point that Kirito assumed she was not just a newbie gamer, that she had some experience. So the fact that she needs it explained that he knew her name based on the little, you know, name tag by her HP gauge, I'm wondering if she's kind of conning him a little bit, or maybe she does know more than she's letting on. But essentially, it's going to be interesting to find out if that's the case, and just what, you know, relationships they'll have, as well as the new character Egil, how he'll, you know, factor into everything, and just whether or not, you know, this bravado that Kirito showed at the end of this episode, whether that's going to shine in a positive light or a negative light. I'm just wondering, you know, are they going to see him as a beacon of hope, which was my assumption as the first episode ended, or could they see him more ominously, as though he is just as guilty and just as, you know, infamous as the god wannabe that created this game and put them all in it? So I'm just really wondering how this is all going to play out, and as long as I can continue watching the episodes, being a mobile user, that's always up for grabs, but as long as I can, I'll continue watching it and reviewing it. And I'd love to hear from you guys. You know, if you've seen the episodes so far, what do you think of it? Are you enjoying the series or not? And you can post that in the comments below or as a video response. And otherwise, I hope you're all doing well, and that's going to be it for me. So I'll catch you later. Peace.